Hello there everybody and welcome. In this video I got you 10 tips and tricks for combat in Songs of Conquest. It's all about getting some more efficiency down without being too complicated. So I hope that these things will help you out to get yourself some more fun, some less losses, and some more ideas how you want to put up things. So before we head on over into our demonstration combat, a swarm of rats, I want to talk about number one right up front. Keep your slots in your army filled for essence. What that means, if your army looks like that, you could go for something like this. I can drop one of your roster stacks over there and do something like that. Or distribute them different. Whatever you do, your slots should be filled completely. Why? Because every unit, when it acts, creates essence. Every slot that you don't fill with a single troop is not generating essence. That means you're wasting spell potential. That's one thing that I really want to point out, as I find it a very easy thing to fix in. And I mean, you can now go for it as you want to. You could distribute the guys, you could only have a one stack and protect them. Keep in mind one thing though. If the enemy kills one of these tiny stacks, they gain momentum, which is a bonus to their attack and defense. So if you pull off that strat, position them in a way that they don't get killed. But if you are overwhelming your enemy anyways, you can use these still as a distraction. Rather lose one troop over 16 because you attack a ginormous stack. Whatever. Number two is just something that goes into a similar venue. Decide for yourself which troop stack in your army is deemed as losses. There's always losses in every fight. You can't mitigate them completely. It is really a good idea to consider one troop type to be target of these losses whenever you know you have to do this. So, for example, for this army, my face spirits are my throwaway units as well as my horned ones. Depends on the situation. These are my frontliners and I won't flinch an eye if they die. All the other units, though, I will try to keep alive in this particular scenario. So, when you're going into a combat, well, positioning, this is not number 3 or anything, but this goes without saying, positioning-wise, your ranged units belong behind, and here, while we're still talking about attrition, put up the units that you want to see dead up front, or that you can afford to lose up front as good as possible. And keep in mind, fast units can cross more space, and yeah, the more up front they stand, the further they can reach into the enemy lines. Very interesting in some scenarios. Okay, number 3, let your enemy come. In situations like these, there would be no worse idea rather than rushing headlong into that, because as long as you're fighting against the computer AI will always send its troops blindly into your army. One different thing though is to set up a defensive perimeter. So positioning our frontliners in a way that they can defend our backline is absolutely okay. That is not what I'm talking about. But running headlong into the enemy, just like the AI does, that's what you shouldn't do. Basically, the AI demonstrates quite well to you what you shouldn't do. So, number 4, high ground and terrain camp gameplay. These tiles, the one in the center here, is considered high ground. Whoever stands on high ground is harder to attack and deals more damage in general. So, these are the tiles that you totally want to occupy. They are very, very desirable. And if you can, you want to get to them as fast as you can and position a troop stack there that can really make quite some difference down there, or out there, I'm sorry. And therefore, utilize that. Also, there's natural choke points with the terrain. This is also something that you can use. So for example, if the army would have been bigger and it's all melee troops, we could set up a decent choke point over here, or even over here in the center of the island. Whatever might be the case, terrain plays a darn big role in this game and should be used to your advantage wherever you can. So, number 5, fast versus slow archers. So the game features 2 different types of archers. There are archers that can shoot after walking and deal still full damage. This is a very, very valuable trait. But many archers, just like the militia here in my scenario, are not only losing 50% of their range damage when they shoot after moving, they also have to reload a turn. So really something to keep an eye out on. The militia, for example, should always stand still before they shoot. It would be such a waste on that damage potential if it takes 2 turns to fire again to have only a 50% shot. Don't do that to yourself. Therefore, with these archers, it's really important to have them stand still and then shoot. Whereas fast archers, they can reposition and shoot wherever they want, and they are really, really something different, and you can use them very good for skirmisher tactics. So, number 6, quality versus quantity. As you see here, I have costly troops, or small stack size troops, here the horned ones and the knights, and I have large stack sizes and medium stack sizes, and we're facing these ginormous stack sizes on the rats. The thing here is, with this game, you have to decide whether you want to have a few powerful units or a gigantic swarm of weaker units that grow stronger. The point here is the decision has to be made what it should be, and how to put it. Stacks like these rats, they will always suffer from more losses, also called attrition, than stacks like these horned ones. But you see there, if we use quality stacks against quantity stacks, we lose a lot of our quality troops. What I'm trying to get down to is, if you have very, very valuable troops, like these horned ones that you don't want to lose too many of, you should always try to not do what happened here and block gigantic amounts of enemies with your larger troop stacks. Send in your dudes that can suffer the losses and let the big troops come afterwards, so you don't lose your quality troops against the enemy's quantity troops. This is something that needs some practice, so here I demonstrated it exactly the wrong way around. The proper course of action would have been send in the phase spirits, let them tank the initial blow of the rats, and then send in the horned ones, if you would be keen on conserving these, which I'm not. But I hope you get the concept by now. So, if you want to beat ranged, heavy armies, the objective would be quite the other way around. You not let the enemy come, like I said in number 3, you are coming to the enemy. You are focusing then all the spells and troops that you can get to make your troops faster, so everything with a high movement and initiative is very, very desirable. And if you're fielding against armies that are heavy on ranged, losses are not avoidable. You will suffer through attrition, especially against ranged armies, so that's why they quite suck. But in a nutshell, you want to blitz them down. Bring in fast, heavy hitters, and there's also quite nice things like positioning here, offering more ranged resistance. There's also spells that you can use to increase the ranged resistance of your armies, so these are other things that you can use. But in a nutshell, if the AI decides to field a lot of archers, usually you will bleed a lot of melee troops in order to defeat them. You can't avoid that. But on the other hand, you will also always bleed some troops no matter what you fight, unless the enemy is absolutely a pushover and not worth the fight at all. Now, number 8, upgrades matter. That is, to me, the difference between a tier 1 and a tier 2 unit. Let me show you here in the codex, because it's the best way to show you. So, here, the standard militia comes with a offense skill of 1, or no, offense skill of 5, 1 to 3 damage, and a health of 7. Here we get now 1 to 3 damage turns to 2 to 3 damage, so we have a much higher minimal damage. The health is almost doubled, defense is tripled, offense is almost doubled, and as you see there, they gain an extra point of movement, they even gain an extra point of range. upgraded units in this game are so much better than their baseline units. So whatever you want to play, you should always focus on getting these guys as quick as you can. Yeah, I go as far as saying that an upgraded unit is almost doubly as strong as a regular unit, if that even is enough. I don't know. It's hard to compare, but what I want to get down to, the more upgraded units you can get yourself better, and should really aim towards that. Now, number 9, I want to talk a little bit about the spells here, the buffs and debuffs section in particular. So, these are massive. They only last one turn, but defense buffs and such can get you a long way in lowering your losses. Also, mind you, that all of these spells are stackable. So you can put 2 spells of protection on 1 unit if you need to defend them. That's really cool to set up a good offer strike, so protect them up so they don't die that many. Or it also goes the other way around. You can absolutely demolish the enemy's defenses with spells like Sabotage. These are also very, very powerful. Don't sleep on buffing or debuffing troops. It is really a big difference. Because, to give you an idea, each of these numbers is a percentile number. So, 10 defense translates to 10% less damage. 10 melee offense is 10% more damage. So the more often you stack these, the better. In case you don't know how it works, in a combat situation, the offense of the attacker gets subtracted by the defense of the defender, and the remaining total is then added or subtracted from the damage. So if your offense is higher than the enemy's defense, you hit him harder. If the enemy's defense is higher than your offense, you hit him less hard. So you can decide if you stack up your offense to topple that over, or you debuff the enemy's defense, or you do both. It's up to you. Don't sleep on buffs and debuffs. Last but not least, number 10, specialize your army. There is a lot of troop types in Songs of Conquest for every single faction. Yeah. So we can hire more guys than we possibly can fit realistically into one army. So don't try to. You'll only make yourself unhappy. Particularly because we can upgrade special troop types in the research facilities. That means a specialized army can get these bonuses cheaper, because an unspecialized army would need to have more investments on the research end. This is really important because at the end of the day, if I only use, like, let's say 3 different troop types, I can cash in all these upgrades for these particular troop types and go crazy with these. In the other example, if I have 6 different troop types, I need to invest doubly as much into research. But there's one thing that I want to point out. There is always also the option to focus not into specific troops, but into specific parts of your roster. You see, there's Fey research and human research. Every faction splits up into 2 somehow. It's undead and human, or I don't know. I think with I don't have them in the back of my mind, but all factions divide up into 2 branches. And if you don't want to pick in this regard, you can also just pick for the entire branch. Your wielders' specializations can give you an idea about how to build them, as sometimes, for example, this guy is made to lead Fey troops because 20% more offensive skills? Hell yeah. Same goes for spellcasting. This is just what it is. Alright, my friends, I hope these simple little strategies help you out. I'm eager to work on more. Let me know in the comment section what you would like to know more about. Add in whatever you know more than me already, so people know as well. And of course, a big thanks for watching this video. Feel free to leave a thumbs up, consider subscribing, check out the description box where you will find a playlist link to my Songs of Conquest tutorials, and if you'd be so kind considering supporting Icon Gaming financially, I'd be forever grateful. A big thanks to everybody who does so, and a big thanks for all of you watching these videos up until the very end. I deeply appreciate. See you all next time.